Hi there! Today, finally, I have time to review the relatively new Worldbox AT206 body. It is again a female body, but a pretty uncommon one because this girl here is very muscular and you don't see that often, especially not, of course, never with dolls actually, and even on action figures. It is nothing that is totally common in my opinion. Of course, we do have a lot of fighting games, and therefore, there are existing full sets for famous fighting female figures. But other than that, I think I have never seen a muscular female movable figure at all. And from the promo pictures, I think this body here looks very interesting. But first, an additional disclaimer. If you're not a fan of doll nudity or action figure nudity, this is not for you. This is a very detailed and even blushed female figure, and I know that is not for everyone, but I will censor up the fun parts of this figure later on in the video because she does not need to flash us in every second. But still, for the first unboxing, you can see everything, and also there will be a brochure, which was really surprising to me. And therefore, if you really do not like to see that, you will have to overwind that part. So, the packaging is the standard. It is a nice packaging and a safe one. You already have seen the 100% virgin material sticker. Yeah, I still think it's funny. And both girls and boys do have that, so it's fine. And here you do have the brochure or just booklet. And it is the first time ever that I got a Worldbox body with something like that. We can see some product pictures, even one side for the male figures, and there's some sort of measurings. Yeah, no, I know. These measurings are not for the boys because that was what I thought at first, because the boys are directly over all these numbers, but the numbers are for the girl bodies, and I will show that again later on with translation. The more interesting part is now because this is the first time we get instructions for taking the Workbox bodies apart. And down on the last side in the right corner, there's my arch enemy, aka the Workbox feet. I had so much fun with these before, so much, and honestly, the tip is good. I wish I would have known that before, to be honest. But anyway, I will show you that later on. I guess the other two flyers are forgettable, and here she is. You can right away see that she will come with an additional pair of arms. Those are single jointed. They are stronger or more muscular than the already installed ones. One arm is a bit stiff, but you could heat it up to be more flexible, but I'm too lazy for that. It's not so important, and over time it loosened up by itself. All the extra parts that you can see here are exactly the same as for all the other female Workbox bodies. You will also see that in the next scene. And here's the body itself. It does have a very strong scent. Sometimes I do have the impression that some bodies are not so much scented and others are more strongly scented. And I cannot really say what exactly the scent is. I could live without this gimmick, to be honest, and I appreciate the fact that it airs out pretty fast. But I guess it is better than plastic smell, so yeah, it's okay. So here she is again, slightly censored. I'm not quite sure if that makes it any better or even worse, but it's done and I will go with it. So, as you can see, you get the body, you get an additional pair of arms, also heeled feet, and 4 extra pairs of hands to the one that is already included or installed on the figure itself. Also, the figure comes with flat feet attached. Here again, you do have the booklet side with all the measurements for the AT201, 202, 203, and the new 206. No clue why they put the picture for the male bodies directly above that. But anyway, it is for the female bodies. And one of you was very sneaky. You already had the booklet, I guess, because of the AT206. And there was a comment with all the measurements that you can see here. And I was so surprised. I thought, wow, that's a lot of work for all the measurements. I mean, I would not have done that because sometimes you make mistakes when measuring out stuff. And I thought, wow, that's a lot of work. And yeah, it was not a lot of work because it is right here written down in the booklet. But in fact, I have never seen this booklet before, so I guess they just started to include it. And I would have liked to see that earlier, especially because of the tip for the feet. Here again are the arms, and the only thing that is not included with this body is the neck connector. And as far as I know, this neck connector is only useful for some Blythe heads, maybe even for other adults, but I could not find any information about it. And it is the only extra piece that is not included with this body here. But you get a different pair of arms and also different pairs of hands. It is super easy to remove them and also to attach a different pair of hands. You don't have to heat hands or joint up for that. And even after a lot of handling, out of my experience, they never got loose, so they always sit stable at the joint peg. The hands are also made from the same soft material like the rest of the body except for the inner skeleton and the joints. And the fingers are most of the time separated. There's only one pair, the ones with the Korean heart shape. Those fingers are not separated. But all the others are, and especially the one that is shaped a little bit like a fist, but it is still a grabbing hand, I would say, can hold things very nicely. These hands are very strong, still flexible, so you can manipulate them quite a bit. Also, removing the arms and attaching the new ones is very simple. Here you can see the inner socket for the shoulder joint. When you do buy different bust options, you always get this part of the skeleton as well, and therefore you also will have a lot of, in case you do have a lot of different busts, you also have a lot of different neck parts, and in case you would like to modify a neck for a specific head, you don't have to buy a full new body, you can just switch out the busts if you like. As you can see here, the new arms or the extra arms are way more bulky. They do not have the double jointed elbows and also not the upper arm twist and turn joint. So the mobility for these arms is pretty much limited. But of course, without the extra joints, the details are more defined on this pair of arms. So I definitely appreciate that Worldbox gave us both options, so you can choose between the more muscular and less articulated arms or simply the ones with more mobility but with a slimmer appearance. But since you have both, you can switch them whenever you like to do that. And since this body also does have heel feet, it makes sense to change these for demonstration purpose. And yes, I'm already laughing. They still are not fun, but here's the booklet. So the translation says, tips, pinch the front sole and break it backward according to the lever principle, and then the foot can be easily removed. I mean, the lever principle is a good guess. I should have thought about that myself before, but actually I didn't. I was always so afraid to break the joint, so even removing the feet was not really fun to me. I mean, I'm sure you should not break the sole backward, but I guess they meant to bend the sole as far as possible. And when you really use the foot as a kind of lever, it actually really works. But the foot itself, the heeled foot, is a new one. I never tried to attach it on this body or any other body, and therefore I was not able to get the heeled foot on the joint without problems. But at least I was able to get on the flat foot again. Here you do have the AT206 and the AT202 side by side. The overall size is very similar. I also gave the AT202 a cup D sized bust because that's what the AT206 comes with, and usually or always the other one, the less muscular one, the AT202, comes normally with a cup B sized bust. I was surprised that actually the back also looks a tiny bit different. The 206 does not have more muscles on the back, but in fact the butt looks a bit different. Actually, I think the butt crack itself looks a bit different on both bodies. Don't know why, but that's the only difference that I can actually see. The rest looks the same to me. I mean, on the footage now, I think, in fact, the booty of the 202 is a little bit thicker than the one of the 206. But in person, I was really not sure. But I guess it is so. The 202, the OG whitehead girl, does have, in fact, a little bit more chunk in the trunk. The mobility of the body is good. It is, of course, a bit different to all the other girls because this body here does have a rotation on the upper thigh, which is not necessarily the case. You can buy this body without the rotation joint if you don't like it. So, in fact, this here is the AT206A variant. The B variant does not have this rotating joint. But actually, I really do enjoy this extra joint. I mean, you have to decide if you would like to have a more seamless look or if mobility is your goal. I mean, I can see that on the arms because the pair with less articulation is more seamless because the other one is more or less exactly the same as for the other Worldbox bodies. It does have, or the arms do have more muscles, but it is not so obvious like the ones that are attached at the moment. The similar size definitely makes it more easy to find long arm tops also for the double jointed AT206 arms. Because of the promo pictures, I also decided to push up the legs further than I would usually do, since I'm always still afraid to break the figure. But the material takes it pretty well, and even in this booklet, it said that even if the material got dense or memory, as they call it anyway, you will get it back to its original shape after heating it up. And I can only second that. So far, I was not able to really damage any of the Workbox bodies I had, besides some staining, because this material stains pretty fast, to be honest, and that's the only damage I can see so far. And also, when you handle them a lot, they got some blank spots, but you can even out those spots with magic sponge. Maybe we will talk about it in another video, but so far, really damaging the body was no issue to me or any of the bodies that I have so far. And even for its joints, hot boiling water would help to bring back the original shape of the material. So this is also a method to tighten up the joints again. And even though it looks a bit weird when you push up the legs very far and do a kind of a yoga pose, because the stomach is a little bit, or the belly is a little bit squished, but in clothing, it looks not so bad. You'll see it in the very last picture of this video. It is a very nice joint and it adds a lot to the expression of the body. I'm not gonna lie, it looks a bit weird when you have to pull the skin again over the joints after bending the thighs so much. But after that short time, there's no dent or whatsoever visible. And also the quality of the skin, this, I have no clue, rubber material, is super sturdy. It will be very hard to rip it apart or even get tears in any kind. It is even not so easy to scratch off the blushing of these bodies. So for these bodies, really, durability is a thing and not only pure advertisement. And that's pretty much rare today. Here you can see the two original arms, or the standard attached arms of the 2 and the AT206. I also attached the same hand part. So the difference really are only the muscles, and therefore of course you can exchange the arms of the AT202 for the arms of the AT206 or vice versa. And that will be possible for each and every female Worldbox body so far. So I guess the mix and match aspect was the main reason why this body here got a cup D bust. But especially with the 202 that does have very similar measurements to the 206, everything is interchangeable, also the legs. But these to remove is a little bit more complicated, or at least for the AT206, since this body is totally new. The other one is the first Worldbox body I ever got, and I played a lot with it. The joints are not loose, but they are used to be moved. And as you were already able to see, she even gave away one of her legs voluntarily. So she will get the other legs and let you see how that looks. But I do have the impression that the AT206 is not so happy to lose its original thighs. So she is way more stubborn, and I need more heat to get off her legs. Also, the booklet gives you the tip to heat up the body inside of water, but I decided to do that like I would do that for removing doll heads with a plastic bag, because who wants to have wet plastic? Yes, and also I thought it is a good idea to throw in the heated feet so that they also could heat up. The water is not boiling hot, but it is pretty hot, and I also added some pre-used aluminum foil and waited a couple of minutes. And as you can see, the figure is completely dry. There's not one drop of water, not even condensation water at all. And I also, of course, did not forget in the 5 minutes that I had thrown in the additional feet. But hey, I think paper towels are a very good invention. Now everything is soft and pretty hot, so it is easy to remove the legs, but not so easy to remove the foot, since now everything is hot, so also the rest of the leg is a bit wobbly and it cannot hold the pressure when pushing back the foot, so it has to cool down a little bit. But overall, the mixing and matching of the different body parts works very well, so you could do a lot of different customs while combining the different parts of these two bodies. Now I have to say that is really a very cool idea, so I appreciate that Worldbox does give all these bodies the same kind of joint connection so that they can share their body parts individually, and that's very nice. I think it's unique and clever, and even the next upcoming body with the wasp-shaped waist, I guess this body will also be able to take part in the mix and match game that you can see here. I think that's very good. So I'm surprised that no one ever did that before. And yeah, I'm very sure that a lot of you can do great custom figures with that. Worldbox does indeed a great job on female bodies at the moment. I wish there would be more skin colors available, but other than that, it is a very nice product. So as you can see here, you can move the body parts equally good on both bodies. And I have to say, it took me a while to be so brutal to the joints, because usually I'm used to made to move, and even some action figure bodies that are on the lower quality scale. And usually I'm afraid to break something and even the outer soft skin. So I was not really able to move the joints as much as possible in my earlier reviews because it is still inside of me. I'm still always afraid to break something, but really, with this body here, or better said, with all the others that I had before, I never really had a problem, and that still surprises me. And now even the feet are no longer a problem, or not a big one anymore, so that's good. The tip from the booklet actually was a real good one, and I was so far not brave enough to push the foot to the max since I did not want to hurt the joint or skin. Next question is, what kind of hats would fit on this body? Here you do have 5 different hats in 5 different sizes. The first one is from YM Toys. It is the YMT073 with hairstyle C. She is more on the tiny side of action figure heads. Indeed, I do have one head that is tinier, but overall the YM Toys heads are a bit smaller than the next one you can see. This one here is a Super Duck head, and usually Super Duck heads are not always on the bigger side, but most of the time, as far as the ones that I have, are a little bit bigger. This here is the SDH030 hairstyle C head. Here you can see the center pictures. I washed her hair. I also gave it a hot water rinse since it is Kanekalon and it does not really like boiling water. But I also cut the bangs a little bit. So when you buy this head, it does not really look so nice right out of the box. But in fact, the Kanekalon hair is high quality and in the end it looks pretty much the same as the promo pictures, just with a little bit shorter bangs so that I can see the eyes a little bit better. The next head is also by Superdark. It is the SCH033 with hair variant A. It is basically the same size as the other Super Dark head, but it looks larger because of the way larger eyes. She also has Kanekalon hair. I washed her hair and I also cut the bangs a little bit. They were very uneven, but now they are okay, in my opinion. The next 2 heads are no action figure heads. These two are, of course, Barbie heads. The blonde girl is called Victoria. That's her sculpt name. The other one does not have a name. I just call her tennis player because that's what she is. She is the head of the actual tennis player made to move doll, and she is pretty famous on this channel here. The Victoria head is more on the collector doll size range, and that is not far away from the size of the Super Deck head that you have seen before. Even the eyes are pretty much the same size. Of course, the screening is different, but overall, the difference in size is not so big. But the tennis player is way bigger because this is a pure playline doll. Playline dolls usually are bigger when it comes to the head, but as you already know, I really like this one on the Worldbox bodies. Before trying the heads on the body, it needs at least a little bit of an outfit, I would say. So I got this bathing suit or bodysuit on AliExpress. This is how the seller picture looks. It is not the first time that I bought a cut-out piece on AliExpress, and I was not very happy with the last one, so I actually don't know why I bought this one here, but it looks so nice on the seller pictures, and I had a whole concept for a look in the end, and I thought it would be nice that you can see the muscles still. Anyway, so this bodysuit here looks a bit more like a craft work or some kind of DIY piece. The color is white, which is not really flattering compared to the amount of glue they used. I would say the glue itself is fine. I'm not quite sure what exactly they use. I guess it is a kind of silicone glue. That's what I have read somewhere, but honestly, I don't know. The material is not so stiff, so that's positive. Also, the last bodysuit I had with cutouts, did not have any work done to stop the fabric from fraying out. So this here does have a whole fabric strip around the cutout, each and every cutout, so it does not tear up so easily. But you can maybe see that the color is not really nice. It also has some stains. So I decided to leave that bodysuit overnight in water with baking powder. And here you can see the result. It looks better, at least in person. The white is a bit brighter, so overall I'm okay with it. I paid a little bit more than €9 for it. I thought it would look a bit better in person, to be honest, but at least I will use it for this video and maybe you do like it. Here it is on the figure itself, and at least at the moment, the bodysuit is able to keep its shape while I posing the body, but I can already tell you that over time it even lost its shape quite a bit, so it is not the best product. But trying on heads will look better on this body with the bodysuit rather than with the censorship stickers. I also don't think that this bodysuit or swimsuit would have survived all the handling before. Hopefully, at least it looks good together with the heads. First is the YM Toys head, and on the footage with all the heads, I had already removed all the neck connectors from the heads. When I do place an action figure head on the Worldbox bodies, I really like to attach the neck connector first and then attach the head itself, because that way I can adjust the head a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of very short necks, so I like to do it that way. That is also a reason why I really do like the Worldbox bodies. They do have rather long necks compared to a lot of different other action figure female bodies that do have a rather short neck. Next up is the first Super Duck head. I do like this size here way better than the size of the YM Toys head compared to the body, but that's a personal preference. The mobility for the head is pretty much standard. There's not a lot of mobility. You were able to see the YM Toys skin color is a little bit darker than the Worldbox, and this here the pale Super Dark head is a bit more pale, but honestly both heads look good on the skin tone of the pale Worldbox body. Next is the SDH033, same skin tone as the other Super Duck head. Also, the size is pretty much similar, but there was one big difference between these heads here, and in fact, it is the only Super Duck head that I have that had this problem. The neck connector for this head here was glued in with super glue, and I was not able to get it out without completely destroying it. I simply didn't like how the neck connector was glued in, and so I had no choice to let the head sit a bit higher on the neck or lower or anything. So I decided to remove the neck connector. And I'm curious if you do have also this head or another model with another hairstyle, but still this head. Please let me know if you also had a glued in neck connector. So, of course, this neck connector is not the original one, but it is a leftover from my action figure head Ghost Fashion Doll hybrids, and it fits quite okay for the neck of this head. But since the head sits a bit low on the neck, in my opinion, I decided to add a bit of putty between the neck connector and the head itself, so it comes up a bit, but that's of course only a matter of your own choice. Size-wise, I think this head looks pretty good on this body as well. Same goes for the Barbie Victoria head. I don't know why I totally forgot about the headbanging sessions for the anniversary video. That would also have been a good short clip, but I forgot it, so here you have it. 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 A lot of the modern Barbie heads fit on these bodies very well without any kind of modding. It's of course needed if you want to have a way shorter neck, but when you do like the head on the neck like it is, you can just place the head on the body and you're fine. That is also the case for the tennis player. The head will not fall off. You are able to remove the head. It is just the material of head and body that goes so well together that you have kind of an hypotension, I guess. But that does not work with each and every Barbie head. But at least with new ones, you do not need any further modification. Unless you want a very short neck. From the thumbnail, you know that I already decided to use the first Super Duck head, the STH030 head on the body, but I needed a few new things for good styling, besides this bodysuit. Because so far I do not have a ton of clothing that matches the wide-hipped Worldbox girls. So I bought this skirt. Actually, I thought it would be a skirt. I didn't realize that it would be a skirt, but I will do that in a few seconds. I mean, from its shape, I could have guessed that, but actually, I did not. I thought it would be a two-layered skirt. Anyway, so I also bought this cropped jacket. Both items are very nice. Both items are very pitch black. The material is very different. The skirt is made out of this very flexible spandex or lycra material. The item is well made and the stitching is perfect. Same goes for the jacket. The material is like an outdoor jacket. It is a bit like, I don't know, a waterproof outdoor jacket to be honest, but it is not stiff. The material is thin, but not too thin. It is really like a miniature of a real human sized jacket. The hoodie is lined, the zippers do work, there is an elastic to cinch up the crop part a little bit more. The little beads on the side do not have a functional aspect, but they look pretty good. The front zippers, as I said, do also work, but there are no attached pockets. I'm happy with both items. I paid around 9 euros and 50 cents for the skirt and around 16.50 for the jacket, also back in November. As you can see, it is very easy to put the skirt on the wide-hipped AT206 body. The underpants part gets a bit sheer, but that's only visible because of the very bright light I use. The skirt does sit tight, but it does not pull on the seams, so that's fine. The hands are very easy to remove, which is a big plus. And the jacket does fit over the slimmer, muscular arms. The jacket is cut very oversized, so it will in fact fit a lot of different type of bodies. So also of course on way slimmer arms. But it works as well on the more buffed arms without any problem. Actually, I think it looks really cool. The bodysuit, yeah, I think it does not look so good. Actually, I don't like it, so I will not use it for the styling. But I also wanted to show you the shoes that I will in fact use for the styling. You have seen these shoes together with Worldbox before on this channel, and I never have shown them in detail. It is simply the cheapest option that you do have when you would like to buy high-heeled shoes for action figures. When you don't want to use rainbow high shoes, for example, that's what I did before, but it would not really work with this outfit. So I have here new black ones. They cost usually between 2 and 3 euros in total, so that is a good price for the material and shape of the shoes. I don't need the red inner sole, so I always remove that. The shoe is made out of a vinyl kind material. It is flexible, so you have to be careful not to deform it completely. I guess they made it with this material so the shoe can fit on different action figure heeled feet, and they do fit very nicely on the heeled foot of the Worldbox body. And here she is, the new girl in the collection, plus a very fast kit bash to show you the AT202 also with the muscular arms in clothing. I think this is also possible and looks quite good. So both of these girls do have a similar shape, but of course the AT206 is very muscular and very special. I think this is a great opportunity to build your own fighting game character, for example. And I do appreciate the fact that we now do have a body to create a strong female figure. That is very special, and Worldbox did again a very good job with sculpting. The body still looks very female, even though she does have all these muscles. She does not look like, I don't know, you know, she does not look like a female Arnold Schwarzenegger. She simply looks pretty much like a figure right out of Street Fighter, for example. You can do your own character in Street Fighter 6, and I think this is a perfect body for doing this in your own way and style for a 1/6 scale action figure. And I also really like the rotation on the thigh. I did buy the extra part for the other standard body, so I will have a look on it for next week. So far it is still sealed in its box. But from handling this body here, I can already tell that I will have fun with it. So that's the end of the video, and I hope you had some fun with it and you got some information. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Until then, I wish you a great time. Bye!